In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, পরম করুণাময়, অতিশয় দয়াবান আল্লাহর নামে শুরু করিলাম। বিসমিল্লাহির রহমানির রহিম। Dear students, today again I have come with two more poems, and the name of the poems are Out Out and written by Robert Frost, and he worked during 1874 to 1963. And the second one is Bengal's Face, and it was written by Jivanananda Das, and he worked during 1899 to 1954. At the beginning, I will discuss Out Out by Robert Frost, and initially I will discuss the poem line by line, and those who have book, please open at page 90. Listen carefully. The bus saw snarled and rattled in the yard. That is, snarled and rattled are two words have been used to express the harsh sound of the saw. Here, the sawmill is narrated and made dust and dropped stubble and sticks of wood. That is, in the sawmill, there are a lot of movements. That is, the timbers, the trees, and the people, everybody is actually moving, and they are handling big trees and stubble and sticks, etc. So as long as movement is there, the spreading of dust particle is also there. Sweet scented stuff on the bridge draw across it. That is, the sawmill owners are also here, and they are putting on costly dress, and they are also using costly perfume. So when the airflow comes to their body, it is actually coming with good scent. And from there, those that lifted eyes could count 5 mountain ranges, one behind the other. That is, those who are working in the sawmill, they are able to see 5 mountains one by one, because the sawmill is in an area where there are 5 mountains. Under the sunset, far into Vermont. That is, the name of the area is Vermont, and the situation is the sun was actually going to set. And the saw snarled and rattled, snarled and rattled. Here, snarled and rattled, snarled and rattled. Snarled and rattled, these two words have been used 2 times with a view to explaining the terrible or severe busyness of the sawmill. That is, the sawmill is in a severe busy condition, as it rained light or had to bear a load, and nothing happened. Day was all but done. That is, the day of the minor boy was not at all a comfortable day. He was actually going through sufferings and pangs, and so he was actually passing an ordinary day. His day was not like the day of other boys, those who are lucky enough, those who are born in a rich family, but the boy is not born in a rich family. Call it a day, call it a day. I wish they might have said. That is, the day was not at all a pleasant day, so the poet has told here that call it a day. That is, somehow it is a day, not a pleasant day. To please the boy by giving him the half hour that a boy counts so much when saved from work. The little boy actually wants to play, but nobody is there to give him any scope to enjoy his time by playing, and his heart, his mind were actually demanding any scope to enjoy rest. His sister stood beside him in her apron. That is, his sister came with a special dress, and this is not a gorgeous dress, but as long as she was a poor girl, she did not have any special dress, but she had only one ordinary dress. That is why the poet has mentioned here that his sister stood beside him in her apron to tell them supper at the word the song. That is, she came here to tell the time of supper, because the time was actually at the beginning of the night. So supper means their time of eating has come. So the girl has come to declare the time of supper, and by hearing the word supper, the saw did a dangerous thing. Let us see what happened. As if to prove saws know what supper mean. That is, saw did a thing by which it actually tried to express that the saw also know the meaning of suffer. So it did a terrible thing. Leaped out at the boy's hand or seemed to leap. That is, the saw jumped at the hand of the boy. And it was not a comfortable thing. It was really a dangerous. You know, saw is a dangerous weapon, and the hand of the boy is tender. So the saw actually cut the hand of the boy. He must have given the hand, however it was. However it was actually, the poet was trying to tell that the hand was very important to the boy. But the saw did not have any interest to show any importance to the hand of the boy. It simply took away the hand. Neither refused the meeting but the hand. That is, whatever the fact may be, though the hand was very much important to the boy, so actually demanded the hand and he took away the hand. The boy's first outcry was a wrathful laugh. That is, when the hand of the boy was taken away by the saw, he cried out bitterly, and his crying was exactly like a wrathful laugh. That is, he was actually mocking. He was actually jeering at the modern society as he swung toward them holding up the hand. That is, when his hand was cut, his hand was actually bleeding profusely, and he was holding the hand, and he was just bending towards the atmosphere, half in appeal but half as if to keep. That is, there are two appeal. One, since he was a matured boy actually, because he was doing the man's work, so he understood his real situation. He understood that as long as his hand has gone and he is bleeding profusely, maybe his death will come very soon. So in his eyes there were two appeals. One was to protect his hands, and another one was to protect his own life. The life from spilling, that is, his life was going to leave him. His soul was about to leave him. Then the boy saw all. He saw his hand severely wounded, and it has already been detached, and it was bleeding profusely. So he was in a position to understand his real position, since he was old enough to know big boy. That is, despite being a little boy, he was He was doing the work of able-bodied young man. So he understood the actual situation. Doing a man's work, though a child at heart. At his heart, he was a real child, because he was a child, of course. And despite being a child, he was actually doing the work of a matured man. So he understood his real danger. He saw all spoiled. Don't let him cut my hand off. That is, he sensed his danger. He understood that his life was going to be spoiled. So he cried out loudly, and he requested his sister not to allow the doctor to cut the hand when he would come. The doctor, when he comes, don't let him, sister. That is, he's telling his sister not to allow the doctor to cut his hand, and he understood that nobody else was there in the world like his sister. So he was talking to his sister only, because by reading the poem, we already have come to know that he did not have parents. He had only one sister in the world. So, but the hand was gone already. He was actually requesting his sister not to allow the doctor to cut his hand, but unfortunately his hand has already gone. The doctor put him in the dark of ether. The boy is getting severe pain. It was intolerable to him. So the doctor injected him medicine, so that he was sent in the state of unconsciousness. He lay and puffed his lips out with his breath. That is, he was lying down flat, and he was actually in a state of unconsciousness. And then the watcher at his pulse took fright. That is, those who came to see him by hearing his loud cry. A lot of people came, and they saw that the boy was actually dying step by step. No one believed. They listened at his heart. That is, nobody could believe that just a couple of minutes ago the boy was working very properly. He was an alive person, but now in front of their eyes the boy is going to die step by step. Here the poet has used three words: little, less, nothing, and that ended it. That is, firstly, the poet told here little. That is, the condition of the breathing of the boy is becoming little, and then it is becoming more or less powerful, and just it ended its ending of the life. That is, the poet has said here nothing. That is, the boy actually died here in front of the crowded people, in front of the innumerable people, and that ended it. No more to build on there, and they see there. That is, the people, those who came here, they were actually none of the boys, so they decided not to stand there. Were not the one dead turned to their affairs. The people, those who came here, they decided not to stand there because the boy was none to them. The boy was an orphan boy and he did not have parents. Only one sister was in the world, so she was actually standing there to mourn at his death. Now, dear students, I am going to tell you in a nutshell that there was a minor boy and he was bound to work in a sawmill. And while working, he did not have sufficient protection, and a terrible thing happened. That is, when his sister came to announce the time of supper, the saw did something as if to prove that the saw also know the meaning of supper. So, by hearing the sound supper, when the boy became a bit indifferent, then he simply took his hand closest to the saw, and the saw cut his hand, and he cried bitterly, and his crying was actually like a mockery to the society, that he was lying down flat, he bled profusely, and when he saw his sister, he requested his sister not to allow the doctor to cut his hand, but the hand was already gone. Then step by step he died, and the people, those who came to see him, they actually left the place because they were none of the boy, and only his sister was standing there to mourn for his death. Now, dear students, today I have an intention to discuss another poem. The name of the poem is Bengal's Face, and it was written by Jivanananda Das, and it is of Unit 9 and lesson number 1. And those who have book, please open at page 111. Now, I am going to read the poem line by line, and then if time permits me, then I will try to say something more about the poem. Now, let us read. Because I have seen Bengal's face, I will seek no more. Here, I stands for the poet himself. He has seen the beauty of Bangladesh. So, by being deeply enchanted by the beauty of Bangladesh, the poet is telling his intention that he will not go anywhere else to seek a beautiful country. He is actually intending to stay in Bangladesh. The world has not anything more beautiful to show me. The poet is telling that no other country of the world can actually show him anything more beautiful than Bangladesh. Walking up in darkness, gazing at the fig tree, I beheld. That is, very early in the morning, he will get up, and when the atmosphere is still dark, he will watch in the nature, and he will be able to see fig tree. Fig tree is a very important tree, and in Bengali it is called Dumur Phul. And you know, if someone does not come apparently in front of us, then we sometimes say that ki Dumurer Phul hoye gela naki. So here in this poem, the poet has used the word fig. Don't swallow roasting under huge umbrella-like leaf. I looked around me. That is, there are many beautiful trees, and they are actually looking like dome, and they have spread like umbrella. And discover a leafy dome, jam, kathal, bot, hijal, and ashoto trees. Here, interesting thing is that here the poet has mentioned the names of some Bangladeshi trees. These are jam, kathal, bot, hijal, and ashoto trees. The poet could have written the English name here, but actually to show his more intention, more love for the language of Bangla, he has written all the names in Bengali. Here he has written kathal, but instead kathal he could have written jackfruit. But it's an interesting thing that though it's an English poem, the poet has written the name of kathal, not jackfruit. All in a hush shadowing clumps of cactus and jadeari bushes. The poet has mentioned here two more plants. These are cactus and jadeari. When long ago Chad came in his honeycomb wood. Here the poet has mentioned that Chad Sodagar is a mythical character, and Bangla literature is actually enriched with so many mythical stories, and here Chad Sodagar has been brought as a mythical character to a blue hijal, bot, and tamal shade near the Chompa he too sighted. That is, Another mythical character Chompa has been mentioned. That is the poet has got chance to use two mythical characters here, Chad, Chompa, and they will watch the beautiful trees of Bangladesh, and the name of the trees are Hijal, Bot and Tamal. And Bengal's incomparable beauty one day, alas, in the Gangori. That is, there are a lot of rivers, important rivers in Bangladesh, but despite the names of other rivers, the poet has got chance to use the river Gangori. And actually the poet is deeply enchanted, so he has mentioned the name of this river. On a raft, as the waning sang on the river's sandbanks, Behula too saw countless Ashota boars besides golden rice field. Behula is another mythical character, and it has also been narrated here, and he would also see the beauty of the golden paddy field. And the poet has mentioned here is a nice transport. It is actually raft. Raft is in Bengali it is called bhela, and it is made by banana tree. And the country young boys actually make it during rainy season. So the poet has got chance to use raft here and heard the thrush soft song. Here another bird named thrush. It's actually a hermit type of bird. The poet has mentioned the name of this bird actually. One day arriving in Amara. Amara is another state of Bangladesh where gods held court. An excellent thing has been mentioned here that the poet is a believer of Hindu religion. So he has mentioned here about gods, and according to the poet, gods will hold court in the state named Amara, and it is really an interesting thing that according to poet, gods also hold court in the state Amara. When she danced like a desolate wagtail, then another bird named wagtail is one kind of bird that is actually dual. And the poet will see this bird. Bengal's rivers, fields, flowers, welled like streams of bells on her feet. That is the beautiful things of Bangladesh, namely rivers, fields, flowers. All these are actually like ornament of beautiful Bangladesh. And the poet over and over again he is actually mentioning the beautiful things. Now I am going to tell you about the poem something more. That is, the poet is deeply enchanted by the beauty of Bangladesh, and he has mentioned some beautiful things of Bangladesh. These are some trees of Bangladesh, and he has demonstrated that trees are like domes, and they are actually spreading beautiful leaves, and there are so many beautiful birds. And very early in the morning you will be able to see fig tree and swallow, wagtail. All these are very nice birds, and actually by seeing all the beautiful things of Bangladesh, he is declaring it forcibly that no other else of the country, no other else of the countries can show him anything more beautiful things than Bangladesh. So he is willing to stay here forever, and he does not have any intention to go anywhere else living Bangladesh. He is actually willing to stay here forever. And this is all for today. Thank you very much. I am willing to come with some more classes, and till then, goodbye. Assalamu alaikum.